Alright, welcome. If you're new to the channel, my name's Elliott and you're watching Rickety Ski Reviews. Today we are going in and answering your questions. It's summertime, so without further ado, let's just jump right into it. The first question comes from GDO Stockli. Really need help finding skis for my petite beginner moving to intermediate skier. Everyone wants to give advice to intermediate to advanced skiers. Okay, that's a great question. Beginner to intermediate. The problem is that like all of this stuff is arbitrary and it's just kind of your read on the person's ability. I would say if you're a beginner going to intermediate, that's probably the best time to go and demo a bunch of skis. Like some like ski hills have demo skis. At least like the couple I've been to have said like you pay a flat fee, you can demo as many as you want, and I think that will give you a good idea because those demo shops have a lot of those beginner skis. That being said, if they're beginner to intermediate, whatever they've found success on that's helped them kind of go from beginner to intermediate, they may still find success on those skis and they just need to like start working on skills. There's no ski that's like gonna solidify your abilities. There's just things that you have access to once you get more downhill pressure. So the real question is like, okay, in what way are they intermediate versus beginner? Are they starting to pressure their downhill ski? Are they starting to really load the ski? And are they able to take advantage of designs of like modern skis that do that? If the answer is yes, they're getting good downhill pressure, I personally would recommend the Elon Ripstick because I think it's a ski that is, it's not symmetrical, it's asymmetrical, and the way that it's shaped actually kind of starts your turn for you. I think skis like that kind of force a skier to start their turn automatically, I think that's a good ski because it allows you to focus on the rest of the turn rather than the turn initiation. And I think by eliminating one of those pieces, you're allowing people to focus on different things. So that would be kind of my off the top of my head answer, but I don't know this person, I don't know where they're at. You understand them better than anyone. And a lot of it's just gonna be like, okay, what's gonna make them feel comfortable and what ski are they gonna have the most fun on that they're like, oh, I wanna go more. Really, there is no substitute for that. There's no substitute for mileage. Just get miles on the skis, get comfortable, get working on one or two skills that are gonna kind of get you to the next level. But you just want a ski that they're gonna like, that is going to be turnable for them, that's gonna get them those miles. Because there is no ski, you cannot buy your way into experience. You just have to put miles on snow. So I hope you found that helpful. That would be my recommendation. Once you're going from intermediate to advanced, I think something like a Fischer Ranger, but that would be my off the top of my head suggestion. But again, I'm having to kind of fill in the blanks a lot because I don't really know this person firsthand. All right, the next question comes from Martin Pecco, who is a channel member. And as I always say, I try to prioritize channel members. Thank you for being a member, and thanks to all our members that kind of keep the lights on and support the channel. He says, I'm a new member of your channel and was hoping to get your thoughts for my first pair of skis. First of all, thanks for the amazing work you do on YouTube. Joining channels as a member was a no-brainer, and I hope you'll continue to do ski reviews in the future. Your content is really helpful for me as a first-time buyer. As for where I'm at in the process, I think I've narrowed my search quite a bit, so I was hoping you might be able to help me finalize the decision. I'm looking for a highly versatile ski for West Coast skiing, Colorado and Utah primarily, for an advanced skier who likes to go all around the mountain. I'm 27 years old, and for my style of skiing, I think I want a good balance of playfulness and stability. I love going pretty fast and carving groomers equally as much as hitting the backside bowl of Vale or steeps of Breckenridge, along with the occasional tree run or mogul. I live in Texas, by the way, so I'm only want to buy one pair that I can take for any conditions in the West Coast, and I unfortunately only get to ski about 10 days per year right now. My list in order right now, below 1A Blizzard Rustler 10s, Atomic Maverick 95, Elon Ripstick 96 Black Edition, Rossignol Cinder 94 or 104s. I'm really just trying to decide between the Rustler 10 and Maverick 95. The rest are just there for brevity or in case you think they're a better fit. As you mentioned in your review, the Elon Ripstick is outclassed by the Maverick, so that's why I put in second. It's not outclassed, it's just different. They've got different things going on. Anyway, I've watched all your reviews of these skis, which was very informative. Okay, about my rentals. I've never bought skis before, and this will be my first pair beyond rentals. My rental is previous to Salomon Stance 80 and Nordica All Drive 84. I have not skied either of those skis. so I can't help you with that. Would have asked for wider if I'd known what I know now. Yada yada yada. Part of the reason I mentioned this info about my previous rental is because I don't have a great reference point for whether I'd like stiffer skis like the Maverick or more playful like the Rustler. I don't know if that assessment is totally accurate. My gut feeling says would bias towards playfulness, and that Rustlers might be safer pick given slightly more forgiving nature of the Rustlers if all I know is rentals. The case for Mavericks is that I do enjoy carving groomer's law and might be more rewarding in the more stiff style actually does fit me. Would love your advice. Should be thinking about this. If you have any recommendation on my decision, really appreciate everything you put out on your channel. Alright Martin, thank you for writing in. Here's what I would recommend. I would, out of your list, recommend the Atomic Maverick 95 Ti. It is not the most forgiving ski, so I can see why you're kind of looking at the Rustler 10s. Those are a very forgiving ski. That being said, if I had to have one ski go in the car with me and I was driving from Texas to Utah, I would probably lean a little bit more towards the Maverick 95s, especially since you said you're carving. And because you said that you want to be able to also go in the powder, I think that the Maverick 95 is going to give you the best carving performance there. And on top of that, that Horizon Tech really works hard to give you flotation on those surprise powder days. So that's what I would personally buy out of that list you gave me. However, I actually made a video about this, like if I could only have one ski, I had to throw something in the car, you know, it's like a safe bet. I would probably, for you, pick a Salomon QST 98. Now you said you've been on the stances, so those are both Salomon skis. I haven't skied any of those skis that you have, so it's hard for me to like have a good reference point on them. But I think if you're gonna have an emphasis on the off-trail, like I kind of got from this email, I would go with the QST 98. I think it's one of the more versatile skis. It's a really good bang for your buck ski. It's got like a very comfortable turn. It can still carve. The only thing versus the Maverick is it's not as accurate as the Maverick. It's kind of like, for carving it does carve well, but it's just not like pinpoint, go exactly where you want. You are prioritizing more off-trail. So, you know, based on what you said, I would just pick what your priority is. If your priority is off-trail and having fun in the powder, I would go with the QST 98. I think it's probably a more fun off-trail ski, just with how surfy it is, but it's not by much. And then if you're like, most of the time I'm skiing on groomed runs and I really want to improve my carving, go with the Maverick 95 Ti and know that, hey, I've got this Horizon Tech. I can go, you know, 6 inches of powder and still have fun. Once you get into like the really big powder sessions, those skis will struggle more, but at least it's something. And I feel like the Maverick does a really good job of just giving you good options. And that Horizon Tech really makes the most of that 95 width. So that's my recommendation. If it was me, it'd be a Maverick 95, but as you say, you're like an advanced skier who's like kind of going up 10 days a year. I don't know, just shooting from the hip, the QST 98 sounds pretty great from everything you're describing. But, you know, watch both videos, make a list of like what your priorities are on skis, and then watch both of my reviews and kind of see where it lands. You could also go with a QST 92, but that's more of a daily driver and less of a safe bet. It does really well in the powder for that width, but it's not going to give you the same performance as those two other skis for powder days. It's really hard. There is no one ski that's perfect for everything, but safe bet wise, QST 98 is probably a pretty good recommendation. All right, next email comes from Jackie Onassis. They are also a channel member. Elliott, last year I demoed the Moment Wildcat 172 on a powder day. Prior to that, I struggled on powder, but this ski opened up a whole new world to me. Since then, I have looked for this ski on sale and wondered what other powder skis might be similar. Fairly lightweight, all rocker, fairly soft flex. I also demoed a Bent Chetler 120 width and 180 long, way too much ski for me. But suddenly, I was able to bomb big lines in the POW without fear. But on the piece, these skis became torture devices. Help, Elliott. Thanks in advance. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I feel about skis wider than 110 in general. They are really hard on my hips. I skied the QST blank, and while it's fun in the powder, like you really don't have to work hard to stay on top of the snow, they are really hard on my hips. I don't know what it is. It's just like the mechanics of getting that much ski edge to edge really bothers my hips. I sent you a couple back and forth. You also said, I ski primarily at Snow Basin. I'm an advanced skier, but basically a beginner in the powder. I recently went down. I love to carve and prefer sweeping large radius turns. I love tree runs and jumping off of things. My initial recommendation to them was an Atomic Backland 102 or a Headcore 105, just based on the fact that you are kind of like getting new into the powder skis and you want something that's really forgiving. I think those do the best job at it. But then you came back in another email. Elliott, to clarify, this will be a dedicated powder ski. I need at least 110 width. I already have 96 width for all mountain trees. I plan to get a narrowish 88, 92 dedicated carver for some valley. The narrow ski is the next one on my list to ask you about. I really like the Moment Wildcat at 116. I've considered the 2025 Bent Shetler 110 and a 180, perhaps 120 and a 176. I just have not ridden enough POW skis to know what ones are a softer flex. Let's see, so you also skied the Wildcat on 172. Honestly, I would go with the Bent 110 then, but don't buy the 2025. I mean, unless you're like really dead set on the graphics or something. But I bet that you could really enjoy the 2024. And if you are getting it in a 172 length, you can actually get them for 412 on ALs. And Evo will price match that down another 5%. This is why I'm such a bad, I'm so bad at like making money, because you know, we get a percentage or whatever with the affiliate codes. I don't care about that. If you are getting specifically the 172 length, take a screenshot of it, send it to the Evo. They have like a form online that you fill out, and ask them to price match it, and they will bring it down. And you will be looking at 5%. You'll be looking at a sub $400 Bent 110 powder ski. You know, pick whatever size is gonna work for you best and go from there. But I would honestly not buy a 2025. They have not changed them. It's only a new graphic, unless you really just love that graphic so much and that's what you need to buy. But I would buy a 2024 top sheet. It's the same ski, and get a Bent 110. I think that that ski is really forgiving. It's more center mounted, so it's a little bit more maneuverable off trail just by its design. It's poppy and fun, which is something you said you care about. It seems like the perfect ski. It's got that Horizon tech. It's gonna be forgiving. It's not as forgiving as the Backland. The Backland is kind of like, in my opinion, the most forgiving powder ski, followed up by the Headcore 105. But the Bent 110 is still pretty forgiving, and they don't feel torturous. You can actually carve them on the groomed runs and have fun. Now, it's not gonna be like on the Atomic Maverick 88 level for carving, but that's not what you're expecting from a powder ski. So yeah, I mean, at the very least, try them. If you decide not to buy them this year, try them and see if you wanna buy them for next year. But that would be my recommendation, is that Bent 110. Also, thank you for being a member. Thank you for supporting the channel, and I hope you found that helpful. All right, this will be the last comment. Bob Raymer says on the Salomon QST 106 video, hello, I'm 6'2", 190 pounds, intermediate skier. I ski mostly off-piste. I like the soft snow on the side of the piste. Should I get the 181 version or the 189 version of the QST 106? Now, Bob, I have a whole video about ski length, so I would go based on what your preference is or what you're trying to do. If you're like really just, oh, hey, I'm gonna get the most out of flotation, go for it. But you said you're an intermediate skier, which usually means people are kind of on the new side to powder. I'm 6'1", you're 6'2". I'm a little bit heavier, you're a little bit lighter. I would go with the 181. I don't know, why do you need a 189, right? Like, you're not doing big mountain skiing. If you like going on the stuff just off trail and you get in the bramble, I think the 181's a lot more maneuverable than the 189. But again, that's just like, I don't even know where you're skiing, so it's hard for me to tell you that. I don't know. My gut instinct would be the 181. I personally bought the 182, which is like the same thing pretty much. And I like that. I like having some maneuverability. I think that for your height, that makes plenty of sense, especially being an intermediate skier. The 189, what can happen is if you're in the powder and you're off trail and you get kind of stuck in between skis and you can't make turns to slow yourself down, that 189 will track and give you a lot of speed. Now, if you're like out in some big ski area, out in Snowbird somewhere, and you're just doing big open lines, or you're cat skiing, sure, whatever, the 189 will be fine. But if you're somewhere where you need to scramble or make maneuverable turns, get the 181. I don't know, just don't make your life that much harder. Yeah, and watch my video about sizing. I think that'll help you a lot. But yeah, for me, I would do the 189. I don't even know why the 189 would be on your radar. Just stick with the 181. But again, I can't tell you what to do. I'm not your dad. Do whatever you want. But for me personally, I went with the 182. I've had powder skis that were longer and they can be fun in certain scenarios, but there's a big downside with that sometimes they can be on the cumbersome side. And especially with the QST specifically, just that build, the way it kind of sits and it's a little bit more sandy. As an intermediate skier, I would hesitate to put you on a ski that big, for this ski specifically anyway. Also, if you're gonna buy the skis, use the link. I'll put it down below. So anyway, that's the end of the video. If you like this kind of content, please consider liking and subscribing. That's a free way to support the channel. As always, I'll have links down below to all the skis I'm talking about. So if you're gonna buy them, that's a free way to support the channel. If you're already gonna do it anyway. I also have memberships down below. If you want like easy access to me, that's the best way to do it. But as always, just more than anything, thanks for being here. Thanks for taking the time to watch. As always, I just really appreciate that. And of course, I'll see you in the next one. See ya.